What's going on, Crew Maru? Hope everybody's having a good Sunday today. We're coming back at you today with more repairs, more toy repairs. Um, let's move that. Today, got a sad one. I got a Plunderling. These don't break often, which is really great. And I've never seen Captain Ash break. The only one I've actually repaired was Zombone. The first Zombones that came out, they kind of had a few issues in the hips. Every now and then, it wasn't like across the board with them, but the only one I had ever seen with an issue was actually Zombone. But this is Captain Ash. God, knee seems, there we go. But yeah, this hip broke. So this is the only break I ever see on Plunderlings. So I guess even a perfect toy line can have every now and then a few QC issues. I'm wondering if this guy's stuck. I can see that there's a hole right here in it as well. So I'm wondering if there was like a bubble in this one or whatnot. What's up, Samurai Chris? What's up, Goober? Esteban Brazza, my man, Nacho. Brian Pena, goodness. Dave Wonder, the main man. What's going on, guys? Hey, David Rodriguez Jr. What's going on, guys? Hope y'all are having a good Sunday. Oh, do I have two mics on? Something sounded funny. Oh, hang on. Is that better? Let me know. That was weird. I don't know why that turned on. You might want to turn off the camera mic. The camera mic actually wasn't on. I think it was like kind of coming through my Mac. Let me know if that sounds better. I hope that sounded like really epic. I wish it would have been like a nice slight delay. That'd have been nice. Let me know if that's better, and I can probably remove these. Good. Right on. Cool. Yeah, let's remove this one. Let me just remove these while I'm thinking about it. One, two. All right, we're back at it. Cool. Sorry about that. I was I was changing things around a little bit there, and I guess I don't know. Sometimes I'll open up Streamlabs and something just is funky. The audio is the only thing I ever really have like a kind of funny issue with, but other than that, pretty great program. What's up, Ninth Archer Innovations? Thanks for being here, man. Like I said, we've got a Plunderling today, and I've got this Sen-Ti-Nel Ace, Portgas.D.Ace from One Piece, and he's got a broken wrist joint. This is a tiny joint, so I'm not sure. I haven't repaired this one before, so this is fun. We'll see how this turns out. And I've got a bunch of fodder. Well, I say fodder. I've got a bunch of joints here to see if one will match the color for the broken half, just in case we can't reattach the factory one, which I have to like just give this customer huge props for. He put it in like some sticky tack, like the piece that broke off. He's now this is the crazy part. This is the thing I don't suggest doing. Is he actually sent me the box that the actual box, the figure came in. You don't have to do that, but I get it. It's a little extra security, I guess, but you're also risking your box whenever you ship a box out like that. But he had it like sitting in here, like he pushed it in and stuck it right there, and so it wouldn't be flopping around or it wouldn't get lost. Usually I'd just put it in a Ziploc bag, but I thought that was clever. So hadn't seen that before. I thought that was pretty cool. But I'm gonna leave it in there until I'm ready to fix it. We'll start with the Plunderling here. I think this one's gonna be easier. Like I said, I have done this before. And what we're gonna do is we gotta remove this peg from the hip first. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to apply some heat. Take out the trusty heat gun, make sure it's on the proper setting. Let's go ahead and get started on this. I haven't been using the heat gun just for a second here, so it's got to take a second to get heated up. We're going to heat this up. It shouldn't take long. Alright. That's probably good enough. And so we want to be really careful here so this piece doesn't go flying. Very careful. So I'm going to go in carefully from the top. Kind of get behind the joint a little bit. Just kind of pry it out. Just like so. And since we kind of got our heat gun fired up already, we're going to go ahead and heat up Ace's wrist here. Should take even less time. I'm not sure what this peg, I don't know what the length of it is, since I've never worked with one of these, so make sure we heat it up nice and evenly. Kind of rotate it around. Focus on that point where the peg goes in. That should be good. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to just kind of come around here. Just push that out. You can tell that the plastic's already nice and soft. Cool. So we'll go ahead and set him over here. And we'll set his joint. This is hella weird, dude. Like, this joint is it's two different colors. It's like two halves. Like, straight up. This is like a light plastic. And this right here is like a tan plastic. Huh. I wonder if both wrists are like that. Oh, God, I do not want to lose that freaking bracelet. Set that in here. It is, dude. That's weird. How strange. So half of this is one color, half of this is another color. Wow, you don't even have to worry about matching it. That's nuts. Okay, that's a new one on me. Oh, man. That makes me nervous right there. This is like such a thin piece of plastic. No wonder this broke. All right, so let's go ahead and put that bracelet back on. I'll pop that back on. It goes on well, so that's okay, but yeesh. Okay, so. Yeah, what's up, Shadow Watcher, Demon Slayer? This thing is crazy. Well, this one's gonna be nuts. This is crazy to me because, like I said, I don't see a lot of Plunderlings break. But what we're gonna do here, we're gonna start with our small drill bit. This can be, honestly, I'm probably gonna go up to 1 millimeter. I imagine this one's probably about a 0.7. And so what that'll allow me to do is to drill through here. It's already got this bubble, which is weird. I think that's what this must have been like some kind of anomaly in like the in the casting process or molding process, whatever, because these are generally very well made, and I think this one just kind of had an accident. So we're going to put it in here in our wire pliers. We're going to go in on a slower speed to try not to break our bit. And we're going to follow this hole, actually. There we go. And I thought that broke my drill bit for a second. It did not, though. It just caught it and went right through that hole. Man, it was like there's a bubble in there or something. So let's go through that one more time. There we go. And also lucky for us right here, it's directly in the center, so that's great. So now we're going to go ahead and drill a hole here. Man, this is weird. There's like a chunk. I don't think we're going to need this right here. There's like a broken piece right here. And I think what we can do is just take a small, just kind of sand it flat a little bit. Alright. That way, whenever we do go to reattach it, we're not having to fight against a little random piece of plastic on there. And so let's go ahead and, yeah, man, I can see there's a hole right here. So it goes all the way through. So we'll go ahead and drill through here. So that should be fine. What we could do honestly, what we could do, I'm trying to think, like, since we're drilling through, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to reinforce the other leg as well, just in case, because we are drilling all the way through, you know, and so I'm going to go ahead and take this leg off. I mean, you could drill halfway through here, but instead of risking that, I'd rather go ahead and fix this up for the guy. So just in case, you know, when this gets back, for some reason, if we drilled in, you know what I mean? And it went too far or something like that, if it messes up on this side, we don't want it to break. I'm trying to see. It looks like there's a little bit of mess on this side. I just want to make sure we went through the right side here. And I want to go through. I'm going to go ahead and drill all the way through this peg here. So we went through the peg all the way through the other side. I'm going to go ahead and drill through this again. That was risky. I feel like that that grabbed a hold of my drill bit. All right. And what we'll do is we'll go back through with a larger drill bit. We're going to go through with a 1mm drill bit. And we'll put our screw all the way through it, so it makes that stronger. Where the heck did I put that? I just had it. I got it ready for... This is what happens. Like, I prepped this. I got it ready, and now it's like... There it is. It's running away from me. I need to use this more often. This is cool. It's like a little magnet plate, I guess you'd call it. Just a little... I guess it's for phone repair and whatever, but it like holds on to screws and stuff like that, any metal things, because it's a magnet and it's neat and it helps people like me who lose stuff constantly. Came with something that I bought. It was like a repair kit. It was really cool. I like it. For storage. What's up, Chrisman? Oh, Shadow Watcher Demon Slayer says, I'm messing with the Good Smile Goblin Village figures using a method from Craig Warwick to chop up the limbs so they can are actually articulate. Craig Warwick is a freaking prince, dude. I love that guy. Amazing, amazing human being. Brian Pena says, hey, Billy, I started to watch the show called Superstore. A guy cut his finger off on accident. Yeah, people do that. That can happen. My grandfather almost cuts his finger off like monthly. It's ridiculous. It's like always on a bandsaw too. It's always he's like, oh, just checking to see if the bandsaw was still sharp. I'm like, that's a funny joke and all, but man, don't die out there. Ridiculous. Thomas Brock. Dave, what's wrong with an extra hole or two? Billy, you be careful. Your fingers don't need more holes. They heal up, though, whenever you do add them. For the record, I think they'll keep healing up. I hope they keep healing up. Yeah, I did drill into the tip of my finger not too long ago. Right when I said, hey, don't drill into your finger. All right, we got a 1mm drill bit. And we're going to use this hole that we just drilled in with a smaller drill bit to be our guide. And this peg is just big enough for us to put this in here. Now I like to also always go in through the other side as well. Just cleans it out a little bit, makes it a little easier. Makes it easier on the screw to go through. I'm going to turn up the speed a little bit here. And what this does is kind of take out any junk that might have gotten in the way. All right, perfect. We got a perfect hole through the center. And now I'm going to go through this side here as well, carefully. And this is why I always drill a smaller hole, right? Because it's going to give you that guide. Because if you just went in with this and let's say you messed up, well, you're stuck. That's where you are now. Um, a smaller drill bit though will allow you to go through. And if you do make a mistake, you could technically fix that with a smaller drill bit because you can kind of angle it a little more. It's not the exact size that you needed. I have had to do the whole, Luke Skywalker approach where you get one shot at it, but if I can avoid that, I will. Oh my God, my main man Mitch Falcon is here. This guy loves him some NFTs, let me tell you. Oh, I shouldn't do that. But I did it. I did it anyway. He says, best thing about chopping off fingers is you can do it 9 times until it becomes chopping off the finger. He says this is true. This is a lot of truth. A lot of truth. Any of you guys watching Last of Us? Absolutely, man. I can't wait for episode... Is episode 2 already out? If it is, don't say anything. I really don't... I don't want to say I don't want the show to get ruined because I feel like I know what's already going to happen because I love those games. But I don't want to... that's one of those shows I don't want to get spoiled. Even if... just in case there are changes. Love, 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 love that series. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get these. I've got some stronger screws that I use for situations like this. And I'm going to see just... let's see. Are these the bigger ones that I want to use? I think it might be these. Yeah, these have a ton of threading on them. They're great. So these will actually go, you can see this right here. We'll be able to go all the way through, even a little further after I straighten it, and it'll go all the way into the other one as well. So it'll be awesome. These will be perfect. So what we'll do is, actually before we straighten this out, let's go ahead and test it. And I like to do this just because I like to make sure that the repair is going to work. So what we're going to do, and also before I straighten it, I like to have this because I actually got something to hold on to really well. Like this rounded bit right here. It's basically the whole purpose of an eye hook screw. But let's see if this will go in. I might have to go back through as this hole might not be big enough. But let's see. Usually that drill bit works perfectly, but this is some really good plastic that the Plunderlings used. Yeah, and I could tell because I'm able to screw this all the way through without the stuff cracking and breaking. That's how you know it's good plastic. It's durable, but it's got just enough give, which is why it's so rare that you see these things breaking. So props to that. And yeah, so you can see we're already all the way through. Looking good, directly through the center, exactly what we want. So what we'll do is, since we've now made an impression, we're going to unscrew this. Set this guy down, and we're going to go back through here, the one that we made earlier. We're going to make sure that this goes all the way through as well. Sometimes you got to just give it a little extra twist to get that thing going. And then once it goes, here we go. Let's see. There we go. All right. Hopefully it'll keep going. There we go. Perfect. 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 Yeah, this is what we want. It'll latch onto this. Basically, all we need it to do is to latch onto this peg in here, and that's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and back this out. It's going to be a lot easier, I think, if I just do it this way. Perfect. All right. Since that's good to go, let's go ahead and grab this. Where are my smaller needle nose pliers. Okay. So I always grip the threading with my wire pliers, and I take these small needle nose pliers, grab like so, and then bring it back. Just want to try to get this as straight as you can. It doesn't have to be completely perfect, but you know, you don't want it like brought to you by the letter Z or anything like that. You don't want that. So, and I also like to keep this little hook kind of right here, because it'll allow us to grip, which sometimes we'll need that, sometimes we won't, but to make sure that you've got something extra to grip on, because if you're trying to do it like this, which I have been in that situation before, it's not a fun situation to be in. So, anyways. Mitch. Oh, Mitch is the best. NFTs are great and not an absolute con to exploit vulnerable people. No, not at all. The worst, right? Badger Wolf Prime. Greetings. All right, let's go ahead. Since we're getting this in here, we're going to go ahead and grab our JB Super Weld. Like so. We'll go ahead and grip it here where the plastic's at. And then we will run, since we've already inserted this a little bit, we're going to run some JB Super Weld here. I'm also going to get a little past the threading, just because, like I said, we want this to go in way further than normal, because not only are we going to screw this into this peg to reattach, but we want it to kind of catch on the other one as well, that goes through the other side. We don't want to go too far, though. We want to make sure that there's still some threading in here, and I think this will do just fine. Like you'll see, it's going to go in like so, and it'll attach itself there, and that's a pretty good amount, I'd say. That gives us plenty of threading. I think I might do one more twist. There we go. That's good, just to make sure. And so now we're going to take this. We're going to add some JB Super Weld to the tip of the screw. Make sure it's touching this plastic as well. And then we're going to take this. Always keep this attached, like with the screw intact here. That way you've got something to grab onto. I'm going to go ahead and start this here, and this is also why we tested earlier, because it already goes ahead and gives it like that extra impression to go ahead and get it started. You don't want to have the adhesive on there and trying to get, you know, your impression started, trying to screw this in and it's like not working, and then you're getting adhesive all over it. The adhesive's drying on the screw. It could be a real pain, so you don't want that. All right, so now that we've got that inserted, we just take a little piece of paper towel, and I like to kind of go around and wipe off any kind of excess glue. And so now we'll leave that to sit for a bit. And close the cap here on our JB Super Weld so we don't dry out, which it won't dry out that fast, but just in case. So yeah, this is, I'd say, about 90% done. All that's left to do is let this dry. We're gonna clip this screw with some wire cutter, some bolt cutter, kind of these smaller bolt cutters. These bigger eye hook screws that I got, these things are strong. They're really strong. And so, you know, just to save your wrist and whatnot, it's always good to try to use a tool. That's why we have them, to save your hands, save your wrists, save your veins, save your nerves, all that stuff. Please always be careful. So yeah, we're going to clip that, and then we'll sand it, and then we'll reattach these legs. So while we're waiting on that, we're going to see if we can't tackle Ace here and see what I can do. I'm gonna take a few photos of this one though, because I've never fixed this figure before. So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna take these. I feel like I don't post on my my Instagram like I used to, just because I get so many repairs going. Generally the photos I take now are like for the lives. So, and I've kind of gotten to the point now where I'm only repairing on the weekends. And man, let me tell you, dude, guys, this weekend I worked my butt off, and last weekend too. But this weekend I was doing personal stuff. I did like, I'm not kidding, eight probably 8 loads of laundry yesterday. It was insane, man. Like me and my wife like just had not done laundry in so long. I was like, oh my god, look at this stuff. So I was like, screw it, I'm doing it all today. You know, on my 2 days off from work, and oh man, that was dumb. And then today I got to cook for the week, so I'm doing that, and it's just a lot. I was like just dead before I even jumped on here, man. I had to like I think I ate maybe 30 minutes before I hopped on here, and I was like, oh crap, I got to do a thumbnail for the YouTube video, and I got to let people know that I'm on here, which I didn't do. I didn't even say like, hey, see you guys today. So for you that are here, you guys are the real ones, man. That's awesome. Thank y'all for being here, because I did not even prep people for today. It's such a grind sometimes, you know? But I also consider this more of like a hanging out with you guys and teaching those who don't know how to do this, and hopefully giving you guys some entertainment as well, um, with these fun repair antics. Okay, so now that we've got all that sticky tack off of here, great idea, but it's kind of take a little extra time. All right, so what we want to do here is take our these end clippers here, and we want to carefully, you find the seam for this guy, and you want to really carefully like approach this, because you don't want to cut the peg that's holding these things on. So I usually just kind of go around real carefully. Let's see what's going on here. I wonder if this was like, I'm trying to figure out like what caused the break. I can only assume just because the plastic is so thin that that's what caused it, but I'm not sure. And sometimes when you do use these, it will bend the plastic a little bit, but it's okay, because you can take like a flathead screwdriver like so, and just kind of either run it down like so to flatten it back out, or you can even cut it if you need to. All right, cool. So that's half of that on there. Half of that's off. This is our good half that will actually, this attaches back into the wrist. And this little piece right here is what's supposed to attach the hand. Oh, God, it's so tiny. So I can't decide if I want to like try to utilize because here's the problem we run into with these things, right? Um, it's, and you guys have heard me talk about this countless times, but it's like half on. Like the peg is half on. So, you know, you put this piece on, it's like here's your peg, here's your ball, like where the hand would attach onto it, and here's your peg is attached like this. It's not attached like this, it's attached like this. You know, so it those two pieces make a whole. And oh man, it's like while it is a smart idea, it's a good idea, this just tends to not work as much. There's got to be, there's just, I don't know, there's just got to be better ways around this, or like make the pegs thicker or something. Because this break happens all the time, all the time, like all the time. A lot of times, what I have to do for a situation like this is make a new peg, and you can see this guy is really small, like really, really small. So usually I'll take something like these or whatnot. The weird situation though in this one is the fact that this peg is huge. This ball is gigantic. Usually, like they're the same that go into the wrist and then they go into the hand. They're usually similar. Maybe not the same, but they're similar. So this one looks fun. What usually happens in a situation like this is I have to take something along the lines of this, like I'm not sure what figure this came from, but it's got like a barbell joint like this. And I usually have to just sit there and make a new joint, which might happen today, but we'll see. Let's see if we, gosh, I don't know if I'm able to reattach this one or not, but we can try. It's worth a shot. I tend to just make new ones these days because it's just more reliable, but let's see what happens here. So I'm going to try to drill through here right where it broke. Let's see. I don't know if I did that right or not. It might have been a botched drill. That's pretty good. I mean, it's... Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, this is pretty much lost, which sucks. Because now... yeah, that just sucks. But what we can do is... What I almost always do, I like to take some, like, Loctite Ultra Gel, like this, or Ultra Hold. What is this? Ultra Gel Control. Loctite Super Glue Ultra Gel Control. There's different. There is a difference. There's like regular, I guess, gel, and then there's Ultra Gel. I like the Ultra Gel. So what I'll do, and just because it makes it a little easier, just because it is gel, I'll put some on the where the piece broke, and then I'll take the piece that broke off and I'll reattach it as it should be. And this is not to fix this will not fix it, unless you just don't want to ever, touch it again. In that case, if you consider that fixed, awesome. It's funny, I get that all the time with new clients. They're like, and I'll be able to, it'll move like it was supposed to, right? I'm like, yes, it will. I'm not gonna turn your action figure into a freaking statue, man. You're not stupid for asking that. It's just, it's just funny to me whenever I see it, because it's part of me just has this prideful smile on me. I'm like, oh yeah, you'll be able to use it like you're supposed to. Okay. And so what this does is it just gives me a guide to, it's just a guide. So now I'm going to have to make a new joint. So now we can see that this has been reattached. Oh, this ball at the end is such a, ugh. I don't like that. Although looking at something like this might not work. I don't know if this piece will work. It's probably already got a giant hole in it. A lot of times what happens is I have to use the piece that actually has the peg in it, to make the hole correctly. But you can see, like, well, I don't know if you can see. You probably can't see. Jeez, that's really far away. I don't know if this will show up or not, but like this peg is as thick as this ball end, so that could potentially work for it. Just trying to look through what I've got here real quick to see if any of these are the right size to make this, and if so, then that's great. Oh, yeah, this would work. Cool. Okay, cool. So this works out pretty well. So what I do here is what you guys have seen me do before, but what happens here is I have to make a new peg, right? Like we're basically gonna sculpt this. We're gonna carve this. We're gonna whittle this out of plastic. Let's see if I can't get this clipped. This one's being really finicky. Come on. Come on. There we go. Won't need that. So what we'll have to do is utilize this piece here. And you can tell just by the size of this compared to this, which is great. I mean, it'd be nicer if, like, it was just the right size, but it's not. So what we have to do is make sure that we've got enough of this width here for the rounded piece, which means we can go in right around in here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start shaping this up. And in order to do that, I'll use a sanding joint. So here we go. Turn it up a bit. Sand down this where this peg's at. And we're going to sand this down flat. Just turn it up a little more. And we'll start just kind of rounding this out. Keep in mind, we're not going to have to use this whole thing, so I'm just going to keep on, carefully rounding this guy out. You see his plastic's just flying everywhere. And the beauty, hopefully, of doing this one is that the peg is actually pretty much like the circumference of that circle. Or the sphere, the peg. So that should work out. This peg actually kind of matches up to the size of this peg, and all we'd have to do technically is just round some of this out. So that's really cool. I like that. That makes it a lot easier. Now, one thing you will need for a situation like this is a razor blade here. Sorry, I've been trying to tell you guys what you need at the beginning of these videos now, but I wasn't sure what was going to go on with old Ace here. And as you can see, this is one of those repairs that it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to teach this one. You know what I mean? Like, it's like just comes with practice. That's all I can say on a repair like this. It's a very good practice though to practice, because you get better at being able to replicate these joints. And the other day, I was talking with some friends the other day, and some people, and I love 3D prints. I think they're amazing, especially for customs. But from what I've heard, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, 3D prints we're just not there yet for durability when it comes to pieces like this. Now, I know there was a guy who was printing the Mafex Spider-Man wrists. I'm not sure, probably more than one actually. And I've kind of heard mixed reviews over that, and I'm not trying to bash that guy because it could have been user error on somebody else's end. But like, this is kind of why, like, a lot of times I use Casting Cave. He's a good friend of mine, and he does, I would say these are special jobs just because of the relationship me and him have. He'll actually, cast some stuff for me, and I trust a cast over 3D prints currently, because the type of plastic that he's able to utilize compared to a resin. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, then I would love to start I almost invested in a 3D printer a while back to actually help me, do this stuff. Oh, pardon me. And from what I've seen, it just doesn't work properly. I've even taken some 3D printed pieces before, the resin, just to try them out, and they break when it gets to a point. And it's like there's this fine line between flex and rigidity where it breaks. And I've just found better use in either using like this PVC kind of plastic, like these pieces here, which sucks that they're harder to get a hold of now. You used to be able to get these lots on eBay for not a lot of money. Now it's like it's like currency almost. Now they're expensive. And it's super funny because there's every now and then people will be like, hey, do you have like any of these joints in your fodder bin? And I'm like, it's not really fodder. Like, these are tools at this point. And they're not easy to get a hold of too. They used to be very simple, but I cherish these things at this point because they're not easy to get a hold of. But anyways, it's kind of not really a rant, but just like something that I've noticed. Yeah, like 3D printers are really cool. Like, don't get me wrong, they're awesome. I've seen amazing stuff. I own a lot of 3D printed stuff that's really, really cool. But when it comes to joints, from what I've heard and just the little bit that I've used, they're not there yet. Like I guess the materials that are used are not there yet for making joints like this big, like these smaller pieces. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I am, like I said, let me know. Because I would love to invest in something like that, or invest in somebody who's doing that stuff. But we're getting closer here. But that's another reason, though, why I actually do it the way I do it here. I'm not trying to be stubborn about it. It's just I know that this works. And while it is a lot more work to do, it pays off in the end. And it's pretty cool to say that I can make, a joint from almost nothing. Which is neat. Alright. We're getting closer. The part you'll find is hardest is, and in my opinion, is trying to make it like an actual like a circle. Because circles are perfect. And we are not as humans. So that's a little tougher. What I usually will do is I'll get as close as I can to the right shape. I'll attach it, and then from there I can make it really nice by copying the other side and making sure that it looks good. You can. It's hard for me to eyeball half a sphere, just by eyeballing it. So you take this razor blade here, and we'll cut off any excess junk. And we're getting closer now. Kind of made this into a rounded bit here. Let's see what we got going on. Oh yeah, this is looking good. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll actually go ahead and I'm going to drill a hole through the center here where I want to attach my where I want to attach it to the other piece. Since this piece has the peg in it here, the piece that we're making will have the hole in it. So let's go ahead and we'll drill straight through here with a smaller drill bit. And this stuff's tough, so you kind of got to hold it there for a bit. And it's not as simple as just drilling a hole, of course. For those of you that have seen me make these before, I have a method that works for me and I think would work for you. Once again, this will take practice and multiple tools. Unfortunately, like you got to invest in your tools. That's something, words to live by. If you're wanting to be an artist, creator, and whatnot. You always need to invest in your tools. All right, so let's keep this going. So we need a fairly larger hole, and you can see that there's not a lot of real estate around that hole like where we have. Like that's very thin. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna come in from the other side, drill a hole here. Okay. So we got our hole in the center now. We're going to come in with a 1 millimeter just to drill a larger hole. And this is a bit more durable drill bit as well here. It's not a finger drill bit. Not saying it won't break, but I'm just going to slowly, surely drill this around. And now what I'll do is I'll use another drill bit. It seems redundant, but I don't know. If this is why, if you're not patient enough to, utilize the process properly and do that, then I don't really have, the only information I have for you is to try to be more patient. Don't rush anything. And you'll know if you make mistakes in that process. You'll know what mistakes you made, and Like I said, you're less likely to make mistakes when you're not rushing. Not to say it can't happen, but you know. Oop, careful. That one got away from me. Right as it caught in there, too. Alright, looking pretty good. Make sure I didn't like break the side here. Looking good. Cool. Kind of go through and cut a little bit of this off. Maybe we might sand it actually. We got some plastic bits kind of coming up on the side here, so we want to kind of sand it down flat. Careful. Plastics, becomes a little more fragile because the more you cut off. All right. Just gonna shape this out. Just a little bit. You don't want to go too crazy. All right. We're getting closer to attaching this guy. Let's use our smaller drill bit to kind of go back through the larger hole. And sometimes you can use this to kind of just carefully kind of clean any of this off. Right through here. Gives you a good idea as to where you stand with your piece. You kind of come in and you can almost like come in at almost an angle, or at an angle. But it's like you go in straight and you kind of lift it up a little bit and you can start creating this basically it makes it easier for the peg to insert. Okay, I'm just gonna carefully chip away at some of this stuff. You also want to make sure though that it's not diagonal. You want to make sure that this piece has been sanded flat, because if it's got any kind of incline to it, that's not going to work for you. You don't want your wrist peg to be slanted or crooked. Let's cut some of this excess plastic off here. Keep in mind, this is a really tiny piece of plastic that we're dealing with right now. I don't know how big it looks like on the screen. I can only assume it looks really small on your screen compared to my eyes. And okay, just kind of come in at an angle. Sometimes that'll help get away any of this like plastic that's just kind of junking up the edges here. You don't want to cut in too deep or anything. You don't even need to really apply that much pressure. It just takes care of any of this flaky, stubborn plastic that tends to want to hang on. All right, so I think the hole's going to need to be a little bit bigger, and you don't want to like force this in, because if you do that, you're going to break all of that work that you just did. So we'll go back in with our smaller drill bit once again. And we're going to kind of like slowly just kind of drill along the inner edges here. Carefully and slowly. That's why I'm not at a very fast speed right now. You don't want to make these edges too thin. And we're trying to get this as circular, as perfect as we can. It's going to take just a bit because, like I said, we want this to be, matching up. And when I look at the other one, like the factory circle, the hole that the factory made, it is It looks way bigger than you would expect. We just have to be really careful because, like I said, these edges are really thin. Alright. We're just slowly chipping away at this because of how small this guy is. You want to be real careful. Okay, it's coming around here on the bottom, on the side. Great. All right. Let's keep it going. Imagine we're going to have to go through there one more time. Like I said, just take it real slow and steady. And I think you'll end up with a project or a product that you're happy with. Cut off any excess that we got going on here. And let's do a little comparison here. I still think this one's bigger. Looks like it's bigger overall, really, when it comes down to it. But I think this will work well once we get this attached. And a little trick you can do here, because this might actually be ready. What I use is the smaller these smaller burr bits are great for this, what we're about to do here. Like, not only can they clean out like an arm, like a hole, like if there's excess paint or something in a hole, you can clean it out. It's really cool that this works for that. But also, since it is rounded, what we can do is you don't go all the way through, right? You don't want to go all the way through. You just want to kind of push a little bit. Just a little bit. And what this does, it makes this bowl shape, right? And so we're going to do that on the other side too. Like I said, don't go all the way through. Don't push too hard, just a little bit, to where you get a little bit of tension. And so what this does is it gives us a bowl shape on both sides while keeping the center smaller, all right? And basically what that allows us to do, and this is how the factories do it as well, it allows basically the peg, you've got this hole that's basically shaped, take the letter H, but put it on its side, right? So you've got this thinner spot in the middle and then these wider spots on top, and it allows a peg that has a head on it, so to speak, to enter that piece with a little bit of pressure. It will pop through the center and stay locked in. So that's the physics behind that. It's basic, but this little extra step right here is really what you need to make a successful joint repair in this type of engineering right now. This is what we need, is this little bowl shape. I use this a lot, and it works very well, honestly. I remember the first time I just kind of sat there and looked at it, because it's one of those things where you like I said, take it slow and assess the situation. When you do that, a lot of times that little, you have that aha moment, and that's what makes things great. I love it when the light bulb goes off and you're like, oh man. And it's usually something, it's always right in front of you. It's almost always right in front of you, I should say. Or for me, it's like 3 a.m. and you're like, all of a sudden wake up and there it is. There's that idea. Okay. So we got that bowl shape. Let's put our smaller drill bit back in there. I just want to make sure we're, like I said, this is a tedious job. When it comes down to it, that's just kind of how it is. But it's worth it, if you want to fix your figure. All right. Let's see if we can't. Let's see if there's a pop in here. Let's get rid of anything that might be in the way. Any of this plastic junk. Because we don't want that. Alright. Looking pretty clean. The biggest mistake I tend to make, or oversight, whichever you want to call it, is that I don't shave down enough, like going into the peg, like this. It's almost always the oversight I make, and so I try to press this in, and like the end piece just like catches where the peg should be. So you're like, oh man. You're like, ah man, if only I would have thought of that. I feel like this hole's gonna have to be bigger. Gosh dang, I'm running out of I'm running out of room on this this peg here. It makes me a little nervous. We can go back in with our bigger drill bit. This one's a bit stronger, so we gotta be careful that we don't get too off-centered. Speed it up a little bit, cut out a little more. It's going from this side, since this is where the actual peg's going to be going in at. You gotta carefully approach this, super delicately. And just constantly like drill in and then check it. Drill in and then check it. Because if you're not checking it, you could end up drilling the hole off center. And that's what you don't want. And we're getting there. It's looking nice and smooth. Alright, I don't think I'm going to be able to drill anymore. Like, I don't think I could comfortably drill any more of this off with comfortably, you know, confidently, I should say. Let's go ahead and bring out that burr bit one more time, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to do another bowl shape on here. Come on now. There we go. All right, let's do this bowl shape again. Looking pretty good. Very delicate repair. And I'm hoping, because what can happen, what can happen, a lot of times you could spend all of this time doing this, and you can go to pop this peg in here and it can snap it. Straight up. That's just kind of the nature of the beast sometime, and that also happens if you're not careful. Let's see, this is looking pretty good. Let me shave down just the end here. Make this a little more flat on the edges. It's a nice, that way it's got a nice even turn. Alright, that's pretty good. Use our razor blade to cut this. Plastic's still feeling pretty good on my end, so that's always good. Carefully, carefully. Okay. So, hopefully what will happen here is we'll pop this on and we'll be good to go. If not, then we just have to do it again. Do it over. Which sucks, but you know, learn from your mistakes. Let's see if we can't clip it on there without it breaking. It's, man, it's wonderful. It's so it's not as rounded as you might want, but a lot of times this happens with a lot of the joints I make. And what I'll do is I'll go in like this, kind of curve it out. And you've got this nice strong joint that bends all the way through and works really well. So now, you thought we were done. We're not done. What do you mean? What do you mean done? No, now you get to carve a freaking sphere out of this thing near the end, and you also got to do that at the right length, which is always fun. But luckily I cut this little chunk right here, so that's what we needed. So we need to cut about half of this thing off, about right here. And you want to be careful with this. If you are cutting it like so, you want to be very careful. I like to usually let a little bit of excess here at the end. So leave that excess out. You also want to be careful while doing this because you don't want to snap the joint if you're holding it too funky. Like I said, this is pretty much the perfect circumference of that piece that we're messing with. So all we have to do here is basically make a sphere out of the end. Sorry, my arm's getting a little tired because I'm trying to do it from right over here. Been a long weekend, guys. Okay. Gonna come in right here. We don't want to cut off too much of the thing that we've already made, but we do got to make it into a sphere, right? Kind of carefully come in at an angle. This is another one of those things where you want to carefully and slowly make your shape. Okay? There we go. The last thing we want, again, is to make this too large. We try out the hand in there, and it breaks it. We don't want that. Carefully. Alright, so we're getting a little bit of junk on here, so what we want to do is we want to take our razor blade and we're going to kind of slowly... Oh yeah, Badger Wolf, I saw that. I think my Conan's getting ready to process too. It's the 23rd, isn't it? It's tomorrow. I hate breaking it too, Ninth Archer. I hate it when it breaks. I hate it. Or as Harrison Ford would say, good. Me and Corey have this ongoing joke that Harrison Ford just hates everything unless it's causing somebody like grief or misfortune, then he's happy with it. So, good. Oh man, my dog's sick. Oh, did he die? No. Harrison, why? Why are you like this? I want like a robe and like a stretched out white t-shirt for like my Harrison Ford, for my old man Harrison Ford. I want to make an old man Harrison Ford figure where he's just upset. He's just dumping like rat poison into like the neighborhood animals food supply. It's like terrible. It's terrible. Don't do that. It's a horrible thing. Don't be like him. Don't be like the made up Harrison Ford we've created, who's just terrible. Alright, so let's keep on making this into a sphere. It's real easy to make this like into like a more of a cylinder shape. So be careful with that. Just keep an eye on it. Make sure it's not too oblong. I like to usually shave at an angle. And one thing that I do have, and I should probably use it more often, I have this this apparatus from Dremel. It's very cool. You can actually set your Dremel into it. It's like a table vise, but it's essentially like kind of a lathe, so to speak. But it's like a table grinder almost. So it just grinds, and you could actually just use both of your hands on it. But I feel like I have more control with this. But if you want to go a little more, if it needs to be more even, then you can use that. And it's real cheap, man. Dremel makes really great products for an amazing price. I won't lie. Okay, so let's see if we can't clean this up just a little bit. We're getting there, guys. We're almost done, I think. This is turning out really good. Let's see what the difference is here. Okay, this looks a little bigger, and I don't want it to be like, too big. Just go around it all the way. You just want to go in even, small sessions. All right. And if this happens, and this can happen, this happens to me a lot of times, really. I tend to like try to get the perfect shape when you really should be getting the perfect fit. I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of times what will happen is I'll sit there and try to get this like circular shape, and I ended up getting it, but I've made it too small, and that's okay. You can always add uh, some tension to this guy and whatnot. Make the ball bigger on the end if you add like JB Superworld or some of the Loctite gel control, and let it dry, and then it'll form a nice even piece. And actually, it's not bad to add a layer of that onto this if you're not happy with the way this turned out. Sometimes there can be a lot of junk kind of attached to this, but so far this piece feels really good. It doesn't feel flimsy at all. It feels nice and sturdy. So that's the beauty of that PVC plastic, by the way. That stuff works really, really well. So let's see what we got here. Let's see if this will. Okay, so yeah, so what happened here is I made this too small. just a little too small. So like I said, what we can do, I figured I should have tried it before I went in and did that. What you do though is if you do make it too small, what you want to do is we want to add like, you want to add your glue, but you kind of want to put it just in the around the center. It doesn't hurt to put it on the edge, but make sure the majority of it is kind of on the center here, because that'll do is it'll allow it to catch that that piece that we're wanting. So this is gonna work. Unfortunately, I just shaved it a little too small, but like I said, I kind of enjoy it when these things happen. I wouldn't say enjoy it, but I think it's a great teaching moment for what can happen if you do, you know, quote unquote, make a mistake. And it won't happen all the time, but it can. And if it does, just know that it's not the end of the world. Just know you'll be like, oh, I know how to fix that. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably more important than being able to repair is being able to, you know, fix your own mistakes. But that's just my way of looking at it. And something that I really like using on top of this is when I'm applying glue, you know, so now we're stuck with what do we do with this? Well, we got to set it somewhere. Get you a cheap solder, like one of these solder station pieces here, and you can just boom, clamp and let that dry. Let it dry like that. Now you don't have to worry about it touching anything. You can even like hold it down if you need it to like if it's the glue is a little too liquidy, so it can kind of drip down. But yeah, you just set that off to the side, and you're good. And that's gonna be great. That's actually really cool. What you can do with the gel super glue is it kind of has a little bit of give to it. So if you utilize that for like a hand peg, it's actually kind of nice because it has a little give, so you can pop it on and off. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry. I hope that'll dry by the end of this stream. I don't know if it will. That thing's good to go. We just needed it to be a bit larger so it would fit this. God, this is a really big like hole in this hand. Okay, yeah, so we just needed it to be a little bit bigger. So that'll work. Okay, so let's get to our plunderling. Let's finish this off. So as I said before, we're going to use these bolt cutters. Okay, we're going to go in from the side like so. Get as close as we can. Can't really get in there too tight. Yeah, it's having a hard time kind of getting in here. Usually it's a little easier because you don't have to go into the actual figure. Holy smokes, I didn't think it was getting a good grip. That's why you do it in a plastic bag and wear your freaking goggles. I'm glad that went that way and not this way. Let that be a teaching moment for everybody, especially me. I have no idea where that piece went. Bye. But that's not important right now. What we need to do is sand this down. We're going to clip this in a bag. Okay, what you do is you get a nice grip. I don't know if I can actually get a grip on this. We might just have to sand it as it is. Yeah, we'll have to sand this as it is. Alright, that's alright. Okay, so what we got to do here... Pew pew. Yeah, bye. What we want to do here is we got to sand this down. Usually I'll use the full Dremel 4000 for this, but let's see if we can't do it with the handheld stylus here. Be careful when you're doing this, by the way. Don't hit the plastic or the ends. Make sure you are aware of where your Dremel is at all times. Don't go too far and hit the, like I said, the edges of the plastic. Yeah, I'm going to use the 4000 on this one. Fired up. Get this little edges here. The same sanding bit, only on a more powerful Dremel. And you want to work in smaller sessions because you don't want it to get too hot. Put this down here. I think we're good. One more pass ought to do it. There we go. Oh, thanks, Samurai Chris. Hit the like button and subscribe. Oh, man. Chris, check this out. Bam. Corey did it. And I'll get you your gun back. But Corey's going to have to send it back. He sent me the cast, but he didn't. He does it a lot. He'll send me all of the cast. And he's like, oh, I forgot to send you back the original. So I'll get that original one back to you soon. But yeah, I got the guns. So thank you for sending that over. That was cool of you. Even if you did send it in a envelope like an insane person. You're crazy. Okay, so while we've got these, before we reattach these Plunderling legs, I'd like to kind of go through and just... I'm not sure what caused this thing to break in the first place. Could have been that hole in it. Could have been some kind of anomaly in here. But we're going to go ahead and just give it a little... Just a little shaving in there to make sure it's good. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take both the legs, hold them close like so, like this, and then we'll heat up right here, and we'll pop them both on. Heat gun up. Let's give it a nice even heating. Shouldn't take much. You always want to go all the way around though. Alright, that should be it. I'm start feeling a little bit of, they got a little squish to them. It's always good. Pop this on. Pop that on. We'll let those legs cool down. But our Captain Ash is ready to hit the high seas again. Ash was actually one of the original ones that I bought from the Kickstarter. When I tested it out, I bought Cheddar, Goyle, and this guy here. And man, after that, I was hooked. I bought them all after that. I love the Plunderlings. This is one of my favorite all-time toy lines, which is crazy as an adult saying that because, you know, we have a lot of toy lines to choose from. And this is easily one of my favorites. It's just incredible. All right, so that fixes him. And goes a little... I love the balance these guys get too on him. Oh, he doesn't have his head, so it's a little more difficult. There you go. Look at that. So cool. I love these guys. I feel like I might need to tighten the other leg, though. Now this leg feels real good. The one I fixed. I'm not trying to brag, but what you can do to do that is you can add a little dab of your adhesive of choice. I personally like JB Super Weld. I think I'm gonna just add a little dollop on there, and I'm gonna let that dry. I'll pop that leg back on. And again, this is the one I didn't fix, but it just feels like this one feels so good now. I want this one to feel the same for the client. So we'll do that. Tighten up them legs a bit. Get that plunderling going. I love it. Nah, this peg on him is gonna take a little bit to dry on that. It's gonna be a minute. Dang it! I wanted to have Ace complete fixed just to show you the hand fitting, but unfortunately, whenever you do this method right here, like if you add a good chunk of plastic on there, it's gonna, or excuse me, a good chunk of the adhesive, it does take a minute to dry. But I don't know if it'll show up or not, but you can see that is now the correct size, and as soon as this stuff dries, this is going to be perfect. We might have to shave just a little bit of this stuff off, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. This is a solid repair. Came out really good. It feels strong. It feels good. And what we'll do, and this is really cool that you can do this with gel, is like while it's drying, if you notice something's like, it's a little off, if you don't want to shave it down, because shaving down super glue, you know, it heats it up and it kind of reliquefies, kind of turns into a mess. You can sit there and kind of almost like sculpt, actually exactly like sculpt. So while it's drying, you can kind of go in and fix any pieces because it gets a little more firm, and takes to, you know, takes to moving it a little better. Anyways, that will be good once it's done. I'm sorry I can't show that to you finished, but we'll get there. But yeah, that's kind of it. I remember I said I was going to take photos of that throughout the repair, and I think I took one at the beginning, and that was it. Just not good at keeping up with this stuff anymore. I just tried to knock out the repairs because I got too many of them to do. There's a lot more. That was only 2. I think I've got like, I don't know how many I've got. It's ridiculous. I got plastic all over me. All right. So that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hell of a day. Tell you what, man, that was a good one. I would say that was a really good one. Let's see. I'd like to thank my patrons, and while I'm thinking about that, I forgot to add the deal in here. Let's see if we can add this in. So where's my patrons list? Check that. That's gonna watch. It's gonna pop right over my face. There it is. Look at that, moving around, having a good time. Bam! Look at that. It's the current list of awesome patrons that I got currently. Thank you again, guys, for supporting me. I always appreciate it. You know, we kind of sometimes it fluctuates. We'll lose some, we'll gain some. Thank you so much, Esteban Barazza, my man Nacho, Chrisman, Samurai Chris, the awesome Dave Wonder, Robert Enzo, Ninth Archer Innovations. See, put the S on there, fixed it. Well, I just adjusted it this time. Geek Mechanics, and Creeper 13 Creations, our newest patron, and a really, really, really cool guy. So yeah, this is awesome. Another one in the books, Chris. 2 in the books. 2 in the books. We got 2 in the books today. Unfortunately, God, I wish I could have. I wish super glue dried faster so I could finish a lot of these off in front of the camera, because I feel like that's a big plus. You saw the process. You know what's about to happen. All we have to do, although, you know, people have to see you finish the whole thing sometimes. But all we have to do now is heat up this guy, and we'll do that. So, anyways, awesome. Thank you guys again for once again showing up, and take care of each other. And as always, the impossible just takes a little longer, just like super glue drying. Peace, y'all. Have a great rest of your weekend and a great week. Dang it, Mitch. Why'd you have to say that?